Steph Curry appeared to re-injure his left ankle at the very end of tonight's Warriors game, and in this video we'll take a closer look at the mechanism, what could be injured here, and if this is any concern for a re-injury to what Curry was dealing with earlier in the fall. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Dr. Brian Sutterer, and the goal in this channel is to teach you more about the medical side of the sports world. It's been a pretty quiet season in the NBA in terms of big injuries, but this could end up being of some significance. So let's talk about this left ankle injury for Steph Curry. So of course, initially on the play, it actually looked like he was maybe going to have a little bit of some trauma to that right ankle. So you can see here as the Wizards player is going down here, there's a little bit of eversion. So inversion is what we see with Curry's left ankle, where the ankle turns a typical way where the outer part of the ankle goes down towards the floor. But if you pay attention to his right ankle, there's a little bit of eversion where the ankle actually goes in the opposite direction. And so when we just heard about an ankle injury for Curry and I saw the replay, one thought was this right side, but of course now we're going to be concerned with the left. So here as Curry is going out to the side, we can see that foot goes down and the ankle is initially in a plantar flexed position. So plantar flexed position means the foot is pointed downward, dorsiflexed would be pointed up. And then of course his ankle goes on to this inversion position where the outer part, the lateral malleolus, wants to roll down towards the court. This could lead to a multitude of different injuries. Most common, your typical inversion ankle sprain, but more importantly, a possible re-aggravation of that peroneal tendon strain. Now we'll take a closer look at the anatomy of those peroneal tendons, what might influence recovery time in this injury. But first, I want to give a quick shout out to the sponsor of this video. This video is brought to you by one of my favorite companies and longest supporters of this channel, Ancollar. Ancollar makes performance dress wear for men, and they are hands down the most comfortable and best quality shirts I've ever worn. If you've been with me here from the start, this was 3 years ago. I was wearing Ancollar shirts back then, and it's all that I've worn since when it comes to dress wear. I love the comfort, breathability, and ease of care with these shirts. The material is a really nice, lightweight, almost athletic wear type of feel. They're wrinkle resistant, so you can simply hang them up to dry and never have to worry about how they look, and they're also really stain repellent. And I'm really excited too about their new Tropic collection. I'm wearing the French blue Tropic shirt. It's their lightest and most breathable material. Perfect to have on hand right now for those upcoming warm months that are surely just around the corner. The Tropic line is 20% lighter and 25% more breathable than their standard material, so it's an awesome addition to their already great lineup. Right now, if you head to the link down in the description and use my discount code Brian, that's BRIAN, Ancollar is going to hook you up with 15% off your purchase. With their shirts starting at just $42, this is an absolute must-have for your wardrobe. So thank you again to Ancollar for their long-time support and sponsoring this video. Remember, code Brian for 15% off, and let's get back to our learning. So now if we look at our biodigital anatomy tool here, we're focused on the lateral or outer part of a left ankle. Looking straight on here, we're going to see the lateral malleolus on the outer part. Medial is going to be the medial malleolus. And so the bump on the outside portion of your ankle is the distal or lower end of the fibula. Now, the main ligaments that we're concerned about with the sprain are going to be first this guy, the ATFL, anterior talofibular ligament. That's going to be the one that's most commonly sprained whenever you have your typical inversion ankle sprain. And interestingly, it's most commonly injured when you're in a plantar flexed position and you then invert your foot, because you can see typically in this neutral position in terms of the foot and the shin, that ligament is pointed a little bit upwards. But whenever we plantar flex the foot, that puts a little bit more stress. It puts the ligament directly in line with the force and makes it more prone to a sprain. Working our way around, then the next most common injury is going to be the CFL, calcaneofibular ligament, and then all the way in the back, the posterior talofibular. High ankle sprain ligament is going to be this guy sitting up here. Should not be of any concern just based on this mechanism alone. So yes, number one, most common thing would be an injury to these ligaments, something that Curry has of course been through and dealt with time and time again. But the peroneal tendons and muscles, or you can call them the fibular tendons and muscles, are going to be two. Of course, we've got the gastroc back here, the calf muscles, we'll hide those, even though, of course, some relevance here with Draymond Green tonight. But they're going to be the peroneus longus and the peroneus brevis, or fibularis longus, fibularis brevis. They originate off of the upper outer portion of the fibula, so actually all the way up here by the knee. Long muscles, tendons that then wrap all the way down, and they wrap around behind that lateral malleolus. And so they sit in this retro or posterior behind the malleolus, the retromalleolar groove, and then wrap down around to the foot. The peroneus brevis inserts on the base of the fifth metatarsal bone and then the longest actually wraps all the way underneath the foot to go over to the first metatarsal and then that medial cuneiform bone. So whenever you are plantar flex, the foot pointed downward, and then you invert or put a force this way, of course, that's going to put excessive stretch on these peroneal tendons, potentially leading to an overstretch and a sprain. And remember too, when you're in that position, these are the muscles that are in part trying to fire to prevent your ankle from turning. And so if they're trying to fire versus that sudden stress on those tendons, that can lead to that strain. Now, similar to what Porzingis was dealing with, there's a little retinaculum that sits across the top of these ligaments like a little seat belt to keep them in place. And sometimes when you have these peroneal tendon injuries, you can actually injure that retinaculum, causing those tendons to want to dislocate or snap in front of that lateral malleolus, which is going to be a much higher severity of an injury. So going back now to the play where this happened with Curry, if we back all this up, keep in mind where those peroneal tendons are going to be sitting here on the outer portion of his lower leg. As his ankle starts to turn, those peroneal tendons are trying to fire, trying to stabilize the ankle, but they're not able to. The ankle excessively rolls into eversion in that ankle plantar flexed position. And so concern for not only ankle sprain, but yes, this could be a re-aggravation of his peroneal tendon strain. Now, the good news is that most of the time with these, similar to what he had in October, fairly mild, recover pretty well, similar to an ankle sprain type of rehab, unless there's a higher grade tear or there's been some trauma to that overlying retinaculum that keeps those peroneal tendons seated nice and secure behind that lateral bone. So whenever you see anybody with a typical ankle sprain, always have this in the back of our mind for our differential, because it's definitely something that can happen with our typical ankle sprain mechanism. So hopefully for the best here. We don't see any more than maybe a few days, up to a week or so. That sounds like he's not going to need an MRI from after the press conference, but we'll see how much swelling and pain develops into tomorrow and the next day. Thank you as always for watching. Let me know any questions or comments down below. And until next time, we'll see you later. Bye.